Right, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to another League One roundup on this Sunday morning. A croaky voice on a Sunday morning can only mean one thing. Oxford get the 3 points against Ipswich Town. 2-1 the final score. You can watch that match reaction on the channel right now. Well, I say right now, after this one would be ideal. Very, very happy with that. Helped a few Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth fans out as well. You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. It was a tough game, tough conditions as well, but we did it. We did it. Against the odds, we managed to secure the points. Right, let's get into it. We've got 4 selected games as per usual. We will be touching on all of the other ones. The ones that weren't called off, of course, for frozen pitches. Let's do it. Please make sure you do leave a like and subscribe. On the road to 4,000 subscribers. I mean, it's difficult to speak this morning, but we'll try and get all of the words out. 4,000 subscribers. That would be an incredible milestone to hit. If you could show your support by doing both of those things, that would be incredible. Let's get into it. Starting off with Portsmouth as they hosted Exeter City. So, John Mousinho's Blues get off to a winning start. The final score, Portsmouth 2, Exeter City 0. The XG for the game, 1.13 to Exeter's 0.69. Mousinho will be waking up this morning excited, happy, potentially relieved as well, because that was a big game. That was a really, really big game. A lot of threat. They've posed a lot of threat throughout the season so far. A lot of clubs have been shocked and have been challenged against this side. Portsmouth, though, they saw through it and won the game 2-0. You can see by looking at the graph here, Pompey did start the better side. Then Exeter got a foothold in the game. We know that isn't a surprise. The attacking players, the strong defence as well, that they've shown for large parts of games throughout the season. It was always going to be a really quite difficult fixture. Not a nice one for John Mousinho to get stuck into straight away. But when there's a positive result after it, that's even more of a quite promising and, I think, excitable 3 points to secure. You can see into the second half, though, Pompey did get much more control of the game. I think the message at half-time would have been, right, go up there, play with a bit more freedom, and go at them a little bit more. Go at them a little bit more. I think we've seen a little bit of a lacklustre attacking performance from Portsmouth during this bad run in particular. But now, express yourself. I think in the second half, they did do that. And Parlon Pack, I mean, he did express himself with that wonder strike. What a hit. What an absolutely beautiful strike on the volley. First time. Beautiful. Exceptional. Exquisite. The adjectives to describe that goal, I could go on. Lovely, lovely. And I think that's the type of goal that they needed. A little bit of, wow, off your seat type of goal. Now we push on. Now we go and get another one. Because at 1-0, that game is far from over. Far from over. And they did. The second goal did come about 10 minutes later. Joe Morales' first goal for the club. Not a pretty goal. He had an opportunity before he scored. But he scored the second one in the 74th minute, about 20 minutes later. And assisted by Parlon Pack as well. He had a very good game. A goal and an assist. But Exeter, we always knew that this was going to be a challenging game for them. We didn't really know the reaction of the Pompey players as well. It was quite a difficult one to sort of predict, but also look ahead to, because Portsmouth, were they going to have a new manager bounce? They didn't have a no manager bounce, did they, under Simon Bassey? So there was always going to be a bit of a question mark there. But Mousinho only been in charge for 2 days, maybe even just one training session. He will be, in a short amount of time, quite impressed with what he saw. Really quite impressed. I want to speak about Riley Towler as well at the back, number 34. Joined, of course, in January from Bristol City. A comfortable performance from him at centre-half, composed. I think he's 20, 21 years of age. I mean, I was speaking to a lot of Portsmouth fans, watched, of course, aspects of the game as well. Riley Towler, he looks to be a really, really exciting player. Composed, not phased at all by the fact this was a really big game. And Exeter, they will press you. They will press you. Giovanni Brown, Sam Nombe, Joe White. They've also got Stansford as well that can come off the bench. These are players that will be very, very press hungry and will want to get those defenders. And he's one you can really target. Sean Raggett is established and has played a lot of football in League One. Riley Towler, still sort of making his name, if you like, in professional football after that move from Bristol City. He was the one to sort of press. He was that trigger press. But he dealt with it really, really well. Looking at let's just get rid of Riley Towler on there. No offence, Riley, but we've explained your incredible performance. Also, I want to mention as well, team selection. 4-3-3 was what John Mousinho went for. A lot of people maybe, I'm not sure, maybe confused or unsure, and I was in that same boat. What was John Mousinho going to do? I said it on Tom's video and Tom's live stream. He's probably going to go with what he feels his squad suits best right now. I think you've got to look at short term. He hasn't even got a coaching staff really, or backroom staff that he selected. So in terms of, it's really just down to him. I think he's got a goalkeeping coach helping him out. I think he's got an under-18s coach sort of stepping up into the first team to have him out in that short term. But the team selection and the formation and the system was always going to just be I think, what he felt this squad suited. But he did go with a 4-3-3. I'm not going to mention Oxford every single time we speak about John Mousinho, because I understand that can be quite frustrating. He is now Pompey manager. But of course, we play a 4-3-3, so maybe that is his preferred formation. That's maybe the way that he wants his side to play. And he did do that. A couple of players that, I think did play a really, really big role as well. Joe Morrell got a little bit of an ability to, I think, go forward, a bit more of a licence, which was exciting. I think Joe Morrell is that type of player that has the ability to do that. Ronan Curtis came off the bench. Dane Scarlett, Joe Pigott didn't make a substitute appearance. Colby Bishop was that number 9 that started and led the line. I think Lewis Thompson will probably come in for Ryan Tunnicliffe when he is fit. I think that probably will be sort of making sure Lewis Thompson is getting fitter and ready to start a game. That's my consensus. When looking at the stats, though, 53% possession to the home side, 47% to the away side, 14 shots to 12, so quite close when it comes to total shots, and only one difference when it comes to shots on target. You can see by looking at the league table as well. No movement actually after that win for Pompey, but really now back in the mix. Only 1 point between 15th and 10th, where Oxford are. That close. Exeter with that defeat. A little bit frustrating after an unbeaten run. 35 points, though, the same as Oxford United in 10th. So that's how, open it is. Really, really open. But yeah, John Mousinho will be over the moon with that. 3 points on his managerial debut. 3 points on his Pompey debut in the dugout. He's going to be pleased with that. Pompey fans, do let me know in the comment section down below. That's the win you needed. The end of that winless run begins now. So, Plymouth Argyle 4, Cheltenham 2. The XG for the game 1.86 to Cheltenham's 0.81. Once again, the league leaders put on an exceptional show. Let's go to the league table straight away. Top of the tree, 61 points after 28 games. The home record, the exceptional home record, only does continue. Ipswich, who are in third, now 10 points behind Plymouth. Sheffield Wednesday only 3 points behind, and they do have a game in hand. But winning the game for Plymouth was the most important thing, and they did that, and they did it in style. 4 goals. You can see by looking at the graph here, Plymouth were probably the better side for the majority of it. Cheltenham did have their chances. They did score some goals. Plymouth go 2-0 up in quick succession in that first half. Then Cheltenham, just before the break, make it 2-1, make it interesting. Just scoring before half-time. It's the cliche in football, but it's a perfect time to score. It changes that team talk for both managers. Second half, though, Cheltenham, they weren't able to get that equaliser. 3-1, then 3-2, and then the game finishes off. Sam Cosgrove comes off the bench to make it 4-2. So, like I say, it's just a professional result, isn't it? It's a professional result. Yes, Cheltenham, they gave it a good go. They did score a couple of goals. They didn't make it easy. They didn't make it plain sailing, but this is a side in Plymouth who just look better and better. They look better and better every single time you watch them play. You go, are they going to slip up here? Are they going to, fall away in this one? Are they going to? Are they going to? That's the question. I think Plymouth now look like they're going to just continue on this just train of brilliant results, power through. They are looking better and better every single week, and that's a sign of a potential champion. Sides that just turn up, get the job done, and move out of town. In this case, go home because they were in town. They're at home, but you know what I'm trying to say. They were just, once again, very, very good. By looking at the graph here as well, let me just go back to the graph. That's the stats there, the graph. Like I say, Cheltenham did have their sort of moments here and there, but the spikes, the big spikes, the significant spikes, when the biggest chances happened across the game, they were green. They were Plymouth's, and again, you can see second half a little bit tighter. First half, Plymouth actually probably started the game the better side, first 20, 30 minutes. But then they weren't able to capitalise until right at the end of that spell, and then got 2 really important goals. Dan Scarr, Ryan Hardy, then Callum Wright got their third goal after the one back from Taylor Perry. Of course, Callum Wright, the ex-Cheltenham loanee, I believe. Was he on loan, or was he on a permanent player? I'm not entirely sure. But I know he played for Cheltenham in the past. He scored to make it 3-1. Looking at the stats here, 64% possession to 36%, so the home side dominating the ball. 15 shots to 4, more shots on target as well. Cheltenham now, 4 straight defeats. These are some difficult fixtures. A couple of players unavailable for Cheltenham as well. Lots of sort of difficulties, maybe affecting team selection, maybe affecting the results also when looking at the games they've had to play recently. And this one was never going to be easy. But it is 4 straight defeats, and unfortunately in this business, it is a results-based business, and how tight it is the bottom half of that table. Look at that. MK Dons were in the bottom 4 comfortably. They're now 19th. Cambridge, Burton now well and truly in that bottom 4. But I say well and truly, only a couple of points for Cambridge, a few more for Burton. Cheltenham will be slowly falling away in there if they don't turn this form around or poor form around really quickly. It's difficult. This was a difficult game anyway on face value. They weren't expected to win. And actually, they did give it a good go. They did make it quite difficult. But Plymouth, I think quality told. I think league table, form, that probably did show overall when looking at it from when reflecting on it. So, yeah. Plymouth fans, let me know in the comment section down below. Looks to be quite a professional result. Cheltenham Town gave it your best go, but it is 4 straight defeats, and that is worrying. But, they've got fixtures to play, and they've got more winnable fixtures for Cheltenham. That is important to say. Right then, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Fleetwood Town 0. I put a video out saying why or how Sheffield Wednesday became great again. I was worried. I was a little bit worried I was going to jinx Sheffield Wednesday, but they did win the game 1-0. I thought, I'm going to put this video out on a Friday, and they lose against Fleetwood on the Saturday, which was not impossible. That was not an impossible scenario. We know Fleetwood away from home can cause a lot of problems. I was thinking, surely not. It was 0-0 for a little while, but then just before the break, it is 1-0. I say just before the break. It was about the middle of the half, actually. Sheffield Wednesday did come forward. They scored the goal. It was Marvin Johnson, the fullback, who hit the back of the net. Slightly quieter second half. There were chances in the game. Lee Gregory missed a penalty in the last minute. 1-0. They didn't make it comfortable, did they? They didn't make it comfortable. It could have been more comfortable when looking at the scoreline if Lee Gregory had tucked away that penalty in the last minute. But at 1-0, and we know Fleetwood's away record, and we know they do score quite a few goals away from home and have done, really. In fact, we can have a look at their away record when looking at the league table compared to their home record. They're in the playoffs with the away record. Home record, not so much. 23rd, nearly bottom when it comes to their home league table standings. But we know their qualities, especially on the road. They're quite fearless when they play on the road. So at 1-0, even at 0-0, I was thinking, come on, Sheffield Wednesday, just for the video's sake. I mean, lose after this, don't worry. But in the short term, can we just get a result so we can just back up that video? I am joking a little bit, but there was part of me that was thinking that. But a really good result for them. And that form now, that very good form does only continue. 5 straight wins, I believe now. 58 points. Again, Plymouth won, but Sheffield Wednesday won, which means, it does mean something, but it also means nothing at the same time, if you know what I'm trying to say, because Plymouth now have got to keep winning. It's putting the pressure on the league leaders. Only 3 points behind Argyle, and I mentioned, can Plymouth and will Plymouth slip up? I don't know, but Sheffield Wednesday can only do what they can have, what they have control of, and that's winning games of football, and they did that yesterday. Yes, maybe not the most convincingly, but they did. 53% possession to Sheffield Wednesday, 47% in total. For Fleetwood, 14 shots, 9 shots, 4 on target, 2 shots as well, 4 corners. So I think going forward in the offensive areas, they probably were the better side, did have more of the chances. You can see by looking at that lineup there, both Byers and Barry Bannon unavailable and not in the side. We know the importance of those 2 players. Both of them didn't play. So absentees, of course, would play a big part. Lee Gregory started. Michael Smith, Joe Windass, of course, who's been in great form, also started behind that front too. But yeah, no Byers, no Barry Bannon. Still get the result, although it wasn't the most convincing. 3 points in those type of situations. That's going to be the most important thing. It finishes Sheffield Wednesday 1, Fleetwood Town 0. The great form of Wednesday continues, still sort of sniffing and breathing down the neck of Plymouth. So the final game of the 4 selected, it finishes Derby County 2, Bolton Wanderers 1. The XG for the game 0.79 to Bolton's 0.31. A little bit worrying. Low XG for Bolton, not many chances, a little bit of deja vu in front of goal for Ian Everett's side. The creativity may be lacking as well. Not the best day at the office. You can see their goal did come in the 3rd minute of injury time, but too little, too late, it seems. 1-0 after 16 minutes, Nathaniel Mendez-Lang, then 2-0, Connor Hurahan. We know the quality that he's got and that quality that Derby County have an abundance in that squad. A very, very important Derby win with Ipswich losing. The Rams, they get straight in contention. Can they be creeping in to that top 3? It's getting close. It's getting very, very close. 47 points, 51 for Ipswich, but Derby do have a game in hand. It can go to only 1 point if they do win the extra game they have to play. Bolton, 27 games played, 44 points. They'll be frustrated by that. I thought it'd be a draw. I went with 2-2, so 2-1. It's not horrendous. I thought Bolton, the consistency they were building, the confidence they were building, I thought they could go and get that result. They weren't able to, and now it looks like it's going to be. I don't want to jump to conclusions. There's still a lot of games to be played, but those are the type of games where you go, if you don't get the result, top 6 now. Top 6 probably does look like the most likely. If they won the game, it looks, it really can go either way. It looks really, really open, and because Ipswich are dropping points, The problem being Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth can't stop winning, but it does open it up a little bit. It does make it quite interesting, puts pressure on those two clubs as well. But now, losing that game, that will be a bit of a kick in the teeth. They did have more possession, 58%, but didn't have as many shots on target and total shots just in general as well. 44 points Bolton, so now, was that 3 points between those two sides? And like I said, Derby do have a game in hands that can be stretched to 6. Went with the front two, as usual, really. Bolton, Dion Charles, Dan Ndulu, both starting the game. Of course, Dan Ndulu's first game starting, I believe, in a Bolton Wanderers shirt. Wasn't the best game for him. Dion Charles also not the best game. I thought when he scored that goal last week, that confidence could be sort of really there to go on it and kick on, get a little bit of a goal-scoring run. Not to be. Kieran Lee, of course, starting behind the front two, the same as last week as well. Yeah, a little bit. I don't want to say worrying. Santos on the bench as well. I don't know whether that was a tactical thing or maybe an injury thing, because we know the importance of Santos, the skipper for the away side here. Shila Shiratire did get off the bench as well after his move from Manchester United on loan in the 63rd minute, but again couldn't really influence the game in the way that maybe Ian Evatt was hoping to when he called upon him to make an impact. And again, that is a little bit annoying. Yeah, Bolton Wanderers fans, here to see, interested to see what you've got to say, really. I don't really know sort of where to look at it other than by looking at the graph there. You did come forward, but they weren't great chances. They didn't really look like they ever got a real foothold in the game from an attacking sense. Derby as well. I mean, it wasn't a thrilling game, I don't really think, by looking at it. Derby and Bolton did have their moments, Derby with more, but no real clear-cut chances. But there were 3 goals in the game. Bolton's, though, like I said right at the start, 3rd minute of injury time, they needed to score. Before that, in that first half, they did have quite a it is really 2 big chances, 2 big moments. That's when you had to go and score the important goal or first goal and make it quite fascinating, but it wasn't. Finishes 2-1. Let me know in the comment section down below. What does this mean now for Derby counties? Top 2, top 3, whatever it is. Takedown. Top 3 doesn't really make too much of a difference. You want to get top 2 ultimately, don't you? And then the playoffs as well for Bolton. Losing does open it up for Barnsley, who we did win. We'll come on to the rest of the games now. Where are the games? Where are they? Here they are. So, you can see Oxford 2-1. That is a match reaction on the channel. We spoke about that one. 3-1 to Barnsley, of course, after a couple of defeats. Michael Duff's side get back to winning ways. Accrington, defeat for them. League table, come on to that right at the end, but the relegation battle, a bit concerning there. MK Dons, another relegation 6-pointer against Forest Green Rovers, 2-1. A very, very important result for them. It does now see MK Dons climb out of that bottom 4 for a long time and a while, it seems. 5-1 to Shrewsbury against Cambridge United. Another side, Cambridge, in that relegation battle, 5-1. Shrewsbury finding some form, finding some goals. A brilliant, emphatic victory for them. Cambridge, though, concern, worry. Mark Bonner now will be a little bit twitchy, I think. Now, 22nd in the league. It's still very tight. It's still very open, very close. But 5-1, 4 straight defeats. Concerning times. You can see by looking at the league table now, Plymouth still top of the tree. Barnsley now make it a little bit tighter with Bolton with 2 games in hand on there as well. The league table at the bottom is just as open as it ever has been before. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Back in London next time. Take care.